Listen to this beat. Uh, uh. If you want your speech to be memorable, what you're focusing on now is wrong. If you want your speech remembered like the lyrics to a catchy song, here's this secret of mine to guide you on this path you walk along. Welcome to Babylon, let me push you on the podium. And you know I'm number one. Come on, bring a friend. Come on, bring a friend. Come on, bring a friend from the start to the end. And you know I'm making ends meet, eating meat. Come on, take a seat. This is Luca. This is Luca on the beat. And you know we bring the heat. And you know I always represent. And I got fast cars. Okay, I'm getting slightly distracted there, but hope you get the idea of, I don't know what, my charm, my charisma. I'm going to be telling you something I see many people miss out on in their speeches. They're making a common mistake. They're not focusing on this. Maybe they're not aware of it, or they're simply forgetting about it. Or they're aware of it, but they're not addressing it because it's slightly uncomfortable. It's like any root cause here. So if you don't know who I am, or what the beginning of this video even was, I'm Luca. In brackets, I like to freestyle. But I really like public speaking. At the age of 18, I've already delivered speeches in front of 2,000 people. I've won public speaking competitions and received standing ovations. This is what I do in my free time. I like it. So here's where the problem lies with many people, many speakers, many speeches. One, they just simply, I'm looking at my laptop because I have some few bullet points there. So you got me, you got me. They simply just want to be confident. All right. They just want their speech to align like some archetypal leader. They have this idea of what masculine looks like, this idea of what competent looks like, what boss babe looks like, what a speaker is supposed to sound like, what leaders are supposed to act like. Being confident looks a certain way. And so they just try and mirror something else. They close their eyes and they just try and look cold and mask their emotions because they want competence and confidence. They think confidence and competence are somewhat related. They're not really. They just want to be cold and strong and I'm the leader with my microphone and my podium. You listen to me. It doesn't work like that, brother or sister. The second point is the whole thing word for word. Word for word. Bar for bar. They just simply, they have an entire script written down and they're just memorizing it bar for bar, word for word. And this completely exterminates any, potential natural little charm of yours that can shine through the cracks, grow beneath the cracks. All of that exterminated. Because what you're doing is you have a script which you've thought out word for word, and you're memorizing it and you're just reciting it. And sure, maybe a written out, memorized script is probably better than one that you can just riff off of with bullet points. But your audience actually gains more from the bullet point one because you can actually speak to them. And you're not just looking at them like a deer with headlights and just, good morning, everyone. Today I'll be telling you something you should not try and forget in your speech or whatever, Speaking to your audience is far more beneficial than, for their sake, than just simply, having this written out, perfect, ideal script, all right? And then they're setting the bar off of the people before them. So it's almost just a really low bar. Here's a graph. Here's where the average speaker is. No, that's not true. It's even lower. The bar is even lower than you think. Many people, most people, everyone, pretty bad at public speaking. There's a few people, which I don't know if they're naturals. I don't know if they in secret go and improve and work on this stuff, but people who are good rise, stand out. They get the advantage of it. In general, most people really suck. But what I see happening too much is people just play it safe and they go off of the speaker before them. So what did the previous speaker say? They take what they said, they maybe add like one or two more jokes, maybe an anecdote of their own, add a bit more information, and hey, that's good enough. It's what he said, just a bit better. No, we don't want that. Screw that really low bar. They probably sucked. If you had to go and think, what did they say again? We don't want that to begin with. Because you forgot it. It was not remembered. It's bland, it's boring, it's concrete, mundane, it's gray, it's blech. Leave that to the side. That's for the crows to eat on. The scraps, the chum bucket. We are growing our own crop here, our own fruit. And of course, when we grow it, we're going to mess up. We're going to plant the wrong seed, or we're going to, I don't know, add too much water or too much salt or in the soil or whatever. We're going to mess it up a few times. But we're growing our own fruit here. All right? And that requires a bit of labor. But at the end of the day, our ripe golden apple is far better than this little chum bucket level of speakers here. Look at that little chum bucket. Ugh. Okay, but here we can have our potential golden apple. It's just going to require a bit more effort from us. All right? That leads me to my fourth point problem, which I see is just no risk. People are not taking any risk. They don't want to say the joke because, hey, what if it makes me look silly? What if no one really laughs? They don't want to do the freestyle in the video because it makes them look a little less competent, potentially. They don't want to shoot the shot because of potential rejection. It's just, there's no risk here, you know? No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to open my speech with a story. What if they actually, God forbid, see that there's actually personality behind me? Ugh, you know? Whoa, no, that's too much. No. Come on. So what is the solution here? How do we fix these problems? Because I just went on a little tangent here and spoke on forever. Here's the problem. Here's why the world sucks. But how do we make it better? Let me just give it to you real quick. Here's a big arrow so you don't miss it, my brother or sister or whoever you are, whatever you are, wherever you are, whoever you are. But okay, it is break patterns. That is the key. That is what you want to focus on. That is your only objective. That is the goal. If you can do that, amazing. If you can grasp this and do it right now, click off the video, delete YouTube. You've done it. You've won. Cancel your subscriptions. This is the holy grail. You do this, you win. Okay. Let me erase this and then share with you a quote of mine. People falsely attribute it to Shakespeare just because it's so deep. But no, guys, it was actually me. Luca Bazooka, all along. If you want, in these videos, I largely talk about theory and how you can go and implement it yourself. If you want me to personally help you get better at public speaking for free, check the link in the description because I really want to work with someone here and see if I actually got what it takes. And you lose nothing, I lose nothing, but hopefully we can make something special here. If you want. If you don't, that's so cool. Whatever. Here, let's go back to the quote. You can do anything you want to your audience, comma, except for bore. That's a squeaky marker, isn't it? And it's drying out. You can do anything you want to your audience except for bore them. If you can grasp that and speak by that and keep that principle at the center of whatever you deliver, oh, brother or sister, will you flourish? My, oh my, will you flourish? You'll grow wings and fly like a bird. While that chum bucket graph standard level there will continue to smell like a turd. You will develop a skill set and stand out and make even more and earn. While they are still trying to, I don't know, they're left in the dust and they're going to burn. I don't know, okay. Live by this, apply this, and when you write, put a sticky note wherever you can to remember that. You can do anything you want to bore them. And you can do anything you want except for bore them, okay? I'm getting a bit excited here. Eventually, what might happen is you'll think of new ways to break patterns. Potentially a bit risky, potentially a bit controversial, potentially a bit rogue. But I need you to double down on it and follow through with it. And yes, we'll make a joke. And we'll think, hey, they might have made me look a bit silly. But you need to ask yourself, did it break patterns? If yes, good. I was speaking, 1,500 people. There was a derby, a sports derby coming up with our rivals. And typically what the occasion is, you play a hype video or you say some words like, we're gonna run them over. Yeah, and everyone gets hype, even though the words aren't that cool. What I did one day was I said, everyone, please stand in a moment of silence. Everyone stood there, quiet, looking around, not knowing, hey, what's going on? They thought someone had died. So after about a minute or so, in the silence of 1,500 people, 2,000, 1.8, that range, that feels like a really long time. And so I said, everyone, you can sit down again, thank you. That moment of silence was for the team we're playing tomorrow. And everyone was like, yeah, they ate it up, they loved it. No one had done that before. And that broke patterns. And to this day, people continue to speak about it and they remember it. But I remember after doing that, I got in a bit of stick from the higher ups saying, Luca, that was actually deemed a bit of disrespect. You can't be doing that. Moment of silence, come on. I thought someone died. We can't be doing that, Luca. Just next time when you have an idea like that, run it through with me. I didn't do that. I'm not going to do that because I'm here to break patterns. And yes, potentially I got a bit of stick. But for the 1,800 people who heard it, we eating good, we loving it, we living it. That's what we live for. That's what we speak for. All right. So the only question you have to ask yourself, did I break a pattern? Yes. Thumbs up. Let's go. Let's move on. Let's do it again. All right. Live by this in your speech. If you have a joke which it just pops up in your head as you're writing, consider it, use it, write it, implement it, say it. If you have something you want to speak on, break a pattern, do it. If another example, if you're going to list a group of 3, here's 3 reasons why you have to buy Dogecoin. Number 1, it's cheap. Number 2, it's cool and funny. Number 3, it's going to the moon, baby. But what did we do with the list of number 1? We broke it. We broke the pattern with a middle finger, and then we went 2, and then we went 3. There was this teacher, pretty strict guy, not the most likable guy in the world until you got to know him. He always wore Mickey Mouse and Looney Tunes ties. Broke patterns, but he's remembered. Another teacher from high school, one day we're walking past one another and I say, hey, how's it going, sir? And he says, better than you. And I burst out laughing. That's the funniest thing I've heard the whole day. Better than you. It broke patterns. It's a million times better than just a simple, oh, I'm fine, thanks, how are you? I'm not that fine, but I'm saying I'm fine. I don't really care how you are, but I'm asking how you are. You know, what's the point of that? What's the substance of that? That's the low benchmark baseline like everyone else again. It's an interaction which I could have had with him. If I'd had that interaction with him, I never would have remembered it. But with this one, with the golden apple, better than you, he broke a pattern, and now I remember it for, you know, a simple interaction which I otherwise would have forgotten is remembered. That to me is really cool. I hope, you know, you hopefully feel the same way. But there's got to be a little pattern breaking here, all right? Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything on my notes. No, that's pretty much it. Just try and break patterns. And this can even like flow not only in your stories or speeches, but in little conversations like the interaction there I had with my teacher. Like sending a text to someone. Instead of saying, hey, how's it going? You say howdy. You say hola. You say bonjour, even though you're not French. Things like that. Break patterns. Please live by that. Now you might want to ask yourself, how do we do it? How do we break patterns? How do we implement things here? So don't worry, I have 4 bullet points here. So, or why you want to break patterns, practical tips, what you can use. All right, so number 1, this is where humor stems from, in a nutshell. I made a storytelling cheat sheet. Took a lot of time. Check it out, link in the description, please. Otherwise, it's kind of going to go to waste. But in there, I had techniques on how to add humor to your stories. And there was a technique called babies and blenders. And essentially, what it's all about is you'd have humor. In order to create humor, you need to have an unexpected word or a few words describing something and then an unexpected word. So, hey everyone, how was your weekend? You know, mine was amazing. I got to spend it with my little baby brother. He's cute, he's squishy. Oh, and man, is he an asshole, you know? That's a little funny because cute, squishy baby brother, and then all of a sudden, asshole. That's humor. That's funny. I don't care what you say. Every time I hear movement, I think someone's going to come and complain about the noise. These walls are like paper thin, my oh my. Babies and blenders. Let me write that down there for you. I got that from Matthew Dix, the guy who wrote Storyworthy. Amazing. Read the book, check him out. He's the GOAT. And then we have, I got this one from Yasir Khan. Guys, you can see here, I'm not really reinventing the wheel. I'm learning things from other people, I'm implementing it, and I'm seeing how good it works. And then the next 2 points are a little bit of my own, but whatever. Yasir Khan. He's a how to talk like a CEO, like a leader kind of guy on YouTube, social media, Instagram. That's his vibe. He's pretty good. He has this line where he says, or this idea, and what you want to create in your speeches is something where you can call it your own. So in all of your speech, or in your speech in general, you want to say, here's something I like to call blank. And once again, we can use unexpected to create humor and combine that. But here's what's something I like to call blank. It's taking something new, something they've never heard of, a new concept, a new idea, a new perspective, solution to a problem, which they've never had before. Here's something I like to call it's something new coming from you, making your speech, your presentation, your story unique. It breaks a pattern because it's not, oh, here's Atomic Habits rule number 3 to help you solve your problem. But no, it's not that. We're breaking a pattern. Have you ever heard of the phenomenon and the contrast of the equator with the magnitude of your hands in storytelling and speech writing? Me neither. But here's something I like to call, does that make sense? So you can create humor by having this really long and elaborate name. Oh, me neither. I just made it up on the spot. But what I do know is the second point is largely making a speech your own by adding your new invention to it. You see what I did there? So, have you ever heard of the paradox of? I don't know. I can't think of it on the spot. Have you ever heard of the dilemma of your hands in a speech, which ultimately leads to the destruction of the psyche of the audience? Me neither. It's a theory I made up 10 minutes ago. But I do know that using your speeches is something that, using your hands in speeches is something that I like to call whatever, you know. Use that if you can. That breaks patterns and makes things your own and makes it unique. Okay, I have a whole story for this and whatever, but I'm just going to say storytelling because I don't want to waste time. I could make the video more hook-worthy and persuasive and whatnot, but let's just get to the point, all right? And let's not my voice crack, all right? Ugh. Every single one of my speeches begins with a story, period. I found that it works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Try it out. Let me know how it goes. This is a winning formula. Stories, stories, stories. Because what they can combine humor, they can combine breaking patterns. They help you stand out. Ultimately, helping you what? Be memorable. Because think of it like this. In my case, competing in public speaking competitions, everyone is given the same topic. Greatness comes with great responsibility. The quote by Winston Churchill. Or just a random word like trust. Or the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Everyone has the same topic. How on earth do you make that your own? You go find a study, everyone has the same study. You go find a quote, everyone has the same quote. So what do? You make it your own. You add your own story. You add your own spin. You add your own opinion. How do you do that? Through storytelling. You add your own joke. You add your own invention. You add your own story. Come on, man. Fourthly, you'd be silly not to see the power of that. And then fourthly, no quotes. Why? Please tell me you figured it out. Because we want to make our own quotes. And what you want here is to understand. I made this graph here. It's very simple and easy and pain-free to adopt this as your way of life, your speaking. The bar is so low, all I have to do is just jump a little higher than it. It's very pain-free, very convenient and comfortable. Or what you can do is you can grow your own fruit. That's an apple, guys, not a peach, if you know what I mean. This path here of growing your own fruit, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how many times we'll fail, no matter how many dead little plants we'll have, will always be more worth it. Because at the end of the day, this will be our own. It's very easy to just go and say, oh, Nelson Mandela said this. And you might think, oh, how on earth can my quote be more effective than a quote from, the great Winston Churchill or Julius Caesar or Nelson Mandela? It's because it's no one's heard it before. And if you want to know how you do that, there's this little cool art persuasion form called Roman rhetoric. And they have a technique called chiasmus. I want to help you write your own quotes now, in case you're feeling a bit of imposter syndrome. Chiasmus. It's essentially when you take the one component and a second component from a sentence and you flip the sentence. So ask not what your country, A, can do for you, B. Ask what you can do for your country. Don't climb life's mountains. No, don't climb life's mountains for the world to see you, but for you to see the world. Greatness doesn't come with great responsibility. Great responsibility comes with greatness. That's a very effective technique I've used to structure my own quotes, to make my own quotable words. That's really what we want here. Breaking patterns largely stems from growing it ourselves. Do it your own way, no matter how hard, no matter how many resources, no matter how many failed attempts, no matter how many mess ups we have. This fruit is always better than that chum bucket graph right there. That chum bucket graph. That smells like doo-doo. Always worth it. Always, always, always. Even though that's easy and convenient and comfortable, this is everything but that. But this is worth it. That is not. Please believe me. Creating our own quotes, our own stories, our own attempts at greatness. That's what we want here. Break patterns, be unique. Even if you come across as silly, ask yourself, did I break a pattern? Yes. If yes, good. Because remember, you can do anything you want to your audience except for bore them. That's the video. I hope you got some useful insight from this. Take care.